season in the NHL. He'll be joined by Dan Shukta and Mark Bynes. In goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, number 31, Grant Fuhr, who has won 5 straight against the Rangers. As John mentioned, he has an 8.9, make that 898 save percentage, second in the NHL. And for the Rangers, it'll be Glenn Hanlon. He'll be 28 years old in 5 days, born in Brandon, 2-3-2 lifetime against the Oilers, and a 4.43 average. A lot of talk about the ice here today, John.
Glenn Sather said he didn't hold any bones back. He said this is the worst ice in the National Hockey League. He said it's been the worst in 10 years. They haven't had this ice in for 2 weeks, Bruce. They just put it in brand new this afternoon. We'll see how the players get along with it as the game progresses.
First period is underway. Barry Beck turning in his own zone to Steve Patrick to Mike Rogers. Sandstrom on the left side. There's a pass intercepted by Napier. He tried to poke it towards the net. Sandstrom can't move it out. Beck will try his luck for New York to Steve Patrick. The former first-round draft choice of the Buffalo Sabres backhands it in. Fogelin up the boards for Napier.
Bruce, Mike Rogers coughed the puck up first shift. The Rangers may be a little nervous. They have not won on their last 7 games. They were all on the road. Hometown team is tough.
Here's Anderson, a backhand shot, and Hanlon got a piece of it. Anderson cutting in front. He needs just 1 goal for the 200th in his NHL career. Rangers looking shaky in the early going.
The fans are very tough in this building of Madison Square Garden, and it really affects young players especially.
And no one would know that better than you, John, who played goal here for several seasons. Mark Pavelich. Now on the right side to Ruotsalainen, back to Pavelich. In against Paul Coffey. Drops it back, a shot by James Patrick went just wide. Brook at the other point. Feeds it in behind the net for Hedberg. Grant Fuhr came out to play it. Messier on the end of a long shift was bumped. Here's Hedberg. Tied up by Kruschelniski. Curry gets it to him. Kruschelniski had his first career hat trick against the Rangers February 2nd. Centers it in front, one off Hanlon behind the net. Paul Coffey was cruising in. Ruotsalainen looking for the lead pass. Went by him to Grant Fuhr, plays it high off the glass and into the crowd.
It's a wide open play early. Glenn Sather was concerned about his hockey club and the fact that they might have jet lag. They traveled all day yesterday from Edmonton. Between the jet lag and the ice surface, there's only 2 concerns. He's very happy with the way the club has been playing as of late.
And getting to the game isn't all that easy as well, John.
Well, we had to take the subway. That's always an experience. The cabs is very busy. New York City is. Manhattan is on a Friday night. A little tough, but the subway was an experience.
Face off to the left of Grant Fuhr. 1 minute, 34 seconds gone. There is no score. Pierre LaRouche and Mike Kruschelniski on the face-off. Here's Paul Coffey behind his net. Unanimous choice to the Campbell Conference All-Star team. He fed it to center, and the Rangers shoot it right back in. Huddy golfs it ahead for Gretzky. He hit Eriksson, but it goes to Kruschelniski, back for Gretzky. Here's Jari Kurri with the puck. He was checked from behind by Peter Sundstrom, the younger brother of Patrick Sundstrom, by 20 minutes of the Vancouver Canucks.
The 2 best checking forwards are Sundstrom and Eriksson for the Rangers, and they're out against Gretzky's line. We'll see if that keeps up as the game goes, Bruce.
Gretzky after the puck in the corner, centers it. Kruschelniski shoots, saved by Hanlon. Rebound. Here's Gretzky, scores.
Well, good checking didn't work for this shift for the New York Rangers, and Gretzky did the smart thing. He stayed down low around that goal net. Now, Glenn Hanlon is a very aggressive goaltender. He goes out of the net, and he makes the save, and Gretzky stays right low by that goal net. Smart hockey player that he is, and picks up the loose puck. Good effort by the Oilers. Kruschelniski to get into position for the rebound. The whole team, no checks being picked up whatsoever. And again, we talked earlier about the Rangers being nervous, as they will be in their own zone especially, and they're in a hole early as Edmonton scores first.
Gretzky hadn't scored in 4 games. That's his 55th of the season. As the puck goes out of play.
On assist from number 7, Paul Coffey.
Gretzky from Coffey and Kruschelniski.
Bruce, that'll be 12 goals, 11 assists in the last 7 games for Wayne Gretzky here at Madison Square Garden. He could be on fire. That stuff he's spraying on his stick is a sticky stuff, which enables his glove to stick to that tape a little bit better.
Time of the goal was 2:14. Oilers leading early, 1-0. Rangers lose the puck in their own zone. Huber, here's Hughes looking for Lumley behind the net. He goes after it. Puck squirts loose into the corner. Randy Gregg is back, playing in his first game since January 5th. Had that sprained knee. Here's Gregg moving and takes the shot. It hit Beck's stick. Huber having trouble with it. and he just clears it out. Nick Fatiu on the ice for New York, and he's a real crowd favorite here.
And I also like this matchup. You've got Lumley, Hughes, and Hunter, who tough, rugged hockey players against Nick Fatiu and Blaisdell, along with Fatorick, the fourth line of the Rangers. This could get a little aggressive, too.
Battorek has it inside the Oilers zone. Hit Lumley trying to center it, and here comes Dave Hunter. Steps to center and shoots it in as the Oilers make changes. The Rangers are too. James Patrick on the right side for Rogers. Pass was too far ahead. Low back to touch it. Gets it to Willie Lindstrom. Sandstrom in the corner. Here is Kevin Lowe, watched by Mike Rogers. Feeds it up the boards for Dave Simenko. Now to Billy Carroll. Willie Lindstrom has the puck. Shoots. Good save by Hanlon. The rebound comes to James Patrick. Former member of the Canadian Olympic team, to Thomas Sandstrom, a 200-pounder. Good size for a European hockey player. Here's Kevin Lowe to Willie Lindstrom. Leaving it for Lowe. Two players overskated, and it's Sandstrom with it. Lindstrom brings it in, and the Oilers are offside. Live from New York, this is your Molson Hockey Telecast. Almost 4 minutes gone in the first period. It is 1-0 for the Oilers on Wayne Gretzky's 55th of the season. They have Messier, Anderson, and Napier against Pavelich, Ruotsalainen, and Hedberg for the Rangers. Hedberg playing left wing on this line rather than his usual right side.
He was playing the right side all of the season. Ruotsalainen was on the left side. They went into the coaching staff, asked if they could change sides. The coaching staff said sure. And I think some of it has to do with Hedberg being partially blind. He can see the ice better from the left side.
Paul Coffey in his own zone for Anderson. Puck is loose outside the line. Hedberg with Pavelich. Puck came to the side of the Oiler net. Coffey plays it high on the glass for Anderson. Ledyard near center. Shoots it back in right onto Coffey's stick. Now for Mark Napier. Napier was saying he was back on his heels skating. He's trying to move his feet forward, more on the ball of his feet. We'll watch for that tonight.
He doesn't have much trouble when it comes to skating. I'll tell you, this line is great to watch as far as speed goes.
Charlie Huddy to Gwen Anderson. He dumps it in. We'll give chase. He was upended by Ledyard. Hanlon out to play it. Napier waiting in the corner. Tried to center it, put it right on Pavlich's stick. He's checked from behind. Shot by Messier. Rebound in front. And Anderson couldn't get the shot away. Turning in Ranger territory is Gwen Anderson. Into the corner for Messier. Napier behind the net. Fed in front. And goes to Mark Pavelich. He backhands it out. Huddy carried it back in, and the Oilers are offside. Wayne Gretzky has scored for the Oilers, and they lead it 1-0.
In the world of wheels, deals are made on the new and used car trading floor. At Don Wheaton's, we're having a grand opening to introduce you to the hottest idea in car and truck sales in years. Our new permanent indoor trading facility. We at Don Wheaton have built a 25-year reputation for service, value, and customer support. Now we also offer you that same service, a fantastic selection and indoor shopping comfort. If you haven't checked the Little Profit dealer, you haven't checked the market. Free coffee and hot dogs at our grand opening sale on now. Don Wheaton Chevrolet, 7th and White.
5 minutes, 12 seconds have been played in the first period. It's 1-0 for the Oilers. Wayne Gretzky has scored the goal, and he's on the ice with Curry and Kruschelniski.
And the New York Rangers have not had one shot on goal so far in this hockey game. Grant Fuhrer has been out of his net quite a bit trying to handle the puck. That keeps the goaltender alive. Good
collision there between Beck and Randy Gregg. 245 pounds of defense, or make that 445 pounds of defenseman on the ice with Beck and Hubert.
I think, Bruce, that's if Willie Huber is telling the truth about his weight. He tends to get up there a little bit on occasion. He's coming back from a knee problem. He's got great hands and great ability for a big man to be able to move the puck, but the knock on Willie Huber is that he does not use his body enough. With he and Beck on the ice at the same time, here in New York, they call them the Twin Towers. Two huge men.
We had an opportunity to see the real Twin Towers at our hotel, Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon from the Rockets. Houston Rockets of the NBA. Here's Randy Gregg. Moriarty Curry. There's a shot by Sundstrom just wide. Hubert takes the shot. Blocker save by Fuhrer. Don Jackson. Kruschelniski didn't see the pass coming. Ice appears slow. Barry Beck back to get it. Around the boards, Jackson couldn't keep it in, and it's Pierre LaRouche down the right side. Curry back checking. Curry made a good defensive play to break that up. Here's Gretzky. Trying to find skating room near center. Drops it back, and it came outside Ranger territory.
Bruce, you'll see the New York Rangers, when they go down the ice, they generally go to the middle of the ice. Very seldom do they send people down the outside and make that rush and try and beat the defenseman to the outside.
Robbie Fatorick in his 13th pro season looking for Fatiu on the left side. Puck bouncing near center. Brook has it.
See, he didn't have any wingers to pass to. Everybody was in that center ice area. It's very tough to beat the Edmonton Oilers with those big defensemen to the middle of the ice.
Pat Hughes to Wayne Gretzky. Left it for Kruschelniski, then overskated the puck. The Rangers come out 3-on-2. Here's Fatorick looking for Brook on the right side, and it's knocked down by Kevin Lowe. Fatorick fans on the backhand. Fatiu missed getting a shot away. Hughes to Gretzky on the end of a long shift. Hughes breaks for the front of the net. Here's Hunter, shoots, scores!
Well, Wayne Gretzky stayed out just to make a beautiful pass over to Hunter. Now, when Hunter shoots his puck, he comes late. Gretzky takes his time to set the play up. Watch Gretzky come over the blue line, cut to the middle of the ice. Everybody backs in. Then he spots Hunter, moves the puck to him, and watch how early the goaltender Hanlon goes down. It just slides it underneath him. A good shot, a bad play by the goaltender Hanlon going down early like that. Now watch Gretzky back everybody in. He freezes everybody. There he stops. Now he spots Hunter, and it just feathers the pass in there beautifully. The puck goes underneath Glenn Hanlon. 2-0 Oilers.
And they're on the attack again as Hughes rolls it in for Lumley. He was tied up by Erickson. Puck rolling behind the New York net. Ledyard out through center for Rogers. Delayed penalty coming up against the Oilers as Hanlon races to the bench. Ron Kreshner to Sandstrom, who drops it back. Rangers have the extra man on. Delayed penalty coming up. Lumley is forechecking. Back behind the Ranger net to Ledyard. Put it right on Hunter's stick. And now the penalty call will be made by Ron Fournier. First penalty of the hockey game to the Oilers.
So for the Edmonton Oilers, Dave Lumley gets a high sticking penalty. The Rangers will have their first power play opportunity of the hockey game. They're rated 17th overall, Bruce, but they're a little bit better at home where they're rated 14th.
Oilers sixth in the NHL shorthanded, 21 goals. Here's Anders Hedberg racing in. It was poked away by Lee Fogel and Pavelich behind the net. Trying to set it up on the power play. Ruotsalainen at the point with Barry Beck. He's watched by Anderson. Mike Rogers, who played for Edmonton in the WHA. Ruotsalainen shot, they score!
Well, the Rangers get back in the hockey game with a power play goal. A good shot by Ruotsalainen. It's on the ice. You'll see it deflected way up high in the slot area by Mark Pavelich. Now, Mark Pavelich, he's too small to go right into that crease area, so he stays out so he doesn't get hit by the defenseman of the Oilers, and it's going to be deflected by him right into two bodies standing in front of the net. There we'll see it go right up. It goes into Kevin Lowe and Anders Hedberg. Grant Fuhr doesn't have any chance at all on a deflection like that, and it just trickles in over top or over the goal line. A deflection goal for the Rangers to get back in the game.
Rangers strike quickly on the power play. Barry Beck to Ruotsalainen, rink wide to Mark Pavelich with Hedberg. Backhand shot, gloved by Fuhr, and he'll hang on.
Smart thing for Grant Fuhr to do, to hang on to that puck right now. When you score a goal in your home building to get you back in a hockey game, the fans get very, very loud here in New York. Now see the deflection, see where Pavelich has gone. Went off Grant Fuhr, off Kevin Lowe, into the net. A strange goal against the Edmonton Oilers, but the Rangers will certainly take it.
Pavelich should get credit for it if it did go in on Kevin Lowe. He was the last Ranger to touch it. They still have not made the official announcement.
Actually, Bruce, that may be Ruotsalainen's goal. That might not even have deflected off Pavelich's stick. It went off Grant Fuhr for sure, into Kevin Lowe and then into the net.
Paul Coffey down the right side for Lindstrom. It's kept in by Erickson behind the net for Pierre LaRouche. Sundstrom is in front of the net for New York. Paul Coffey falls with LaRouche forechecking. For Simenko, it's kept in by James Patrick. Anders Hedberg getting credit for the New York goal. Here's Willie Lindstrom. Cutting around the defense, shoots, saved by Hanlon, a stick save. As Willie Lindstrom used his good speed around Bob Brook. LaRouche
The power play goal. The
has it taken off his stick by Charlie Huddy to Dave Simenko with Billy Carroll. Now to Willie Lindstrom. Carroll going for the front of the net. In front, scores!
Well, these goals are certainly going in quickly here. We're not even 10 minutes into the hockey game. We've had 4 goals. Willie Lindstrom was late coming back on this goal as far as back-checking goes. As soon as Simenko got the puck, Lindstrom just turned right around, and Simenko spotted him. And a good pass. This sets up the 3-on-1. Good pass work by your so-called fourth line. And Billy Carroll just simply redeflects the puck. The Rangers non-existent in checking in their own zone. Dave Simenko, a good heads-up play spotting Lindstrom. Lindstrom had just simply turned around, got into an open position, put a lot of pressure on the defenseman Brook for the New York Rangers, and they converted the play. Good deflection into the net by Billy Carroll.
That goal by the Oilers coming exactly 1 minute after the Rangers had scored on the power play. They lead it 3-1. Penalty now coming up to New York. Messier had control for a second, then Patrick touches it, and New York picks up its first penalty.
At 9-11.
Canada Grade A whole frozen frying chicken, 99 cents a pound, $2.18 a kilogram. Safeway, working hard to be your favorite food store.
The Ranger penalty has been charged to number 11, Steve Patrick. He receives 2 minutes for...
Well, the first penalty of the hockey game to the New York Rangers. They're down 3-1.
Steve Patrick
for hooking at 9:30.
If there's been a bright spot for the New York Rangers all season long, it's been their penalty killing. They're ranked second in the National Hockey League. They play rather an aggressive style. We'll have Fatorick along with Brook up front, and they like to use their 2 bigger defensemen in Barry Beck and Willie Huber in front of the net. It's good to have that size. Buffalo does it a lot. They use their big defensemen killing penalties. So do the Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers power play 4th in the NHL. Don Jackson behind his net to get it. He and Randy Gregg on defense with Anderson, Messier, and Napier up front on this Oiler power play. Mark Messier, poke check by Beck. Puck goes high to Napier, who keeps it in for Randy Gregg. To Messier. Glenn Anderson back to Mark Napier. Messier in front. The Oilers pass it back and forth. Napier shot. Here's Anderson, shoots. That hit Beck. Puck bouncing in front. And the Rangers, Willie Huber, backhands it out.
Good save by Glenn Hanlon on that last shot by Anderson, but the play was set up by Napier, getting himself into that center ice area, so he's able to direct the shot at a better angle towards the net, Bruce.
Mark Messier shooting it into the corner for Mark Napier. He left it on the boards. Paul Coffey has it, takes the shot, hit Huber in front, and he bounces it down the ice. 1:04 and the penalty to Steve Patrick. Oilers leading 3-1. And we're just past the midway mark of the first period. Paul Coffey slapping it in. Anderson along the boards took an elbow from Huber. Curry trying to center it. Gretzky overskated the puck. Anderson to Curry. Gretzky off the side of the net. Huddy and Coffey at the points. Here's Coffey. Shoots. Tipped by Anderson just wide. He was flattened at the side of the net by Huber. Gretzky behind the net. Gets away from Huber. Anderson in front having a battle with Beck. Gretzky to Paul Coffey. Back to Gretzky. Shoots. Easy save for Hanlon, who saw it all the way. Kept in by Huddy. Then knocked away by Erickson. 1-on-1 against Coffey. Slap shot over top of the net. A bullet by Erickson.
Well, we talked about Huber and Beck being big defensemen. They used their body well, but give Glenn Anderson credit. He stayed right in there and took a beating.
Paul Coffey back to Gretzky. Fakes the shot. Over to Curry. Shoots. And he rifled it just wide. Nice play by Gretzky to Yari Curry. Rangers are back at full strength. The Oilers had a couple of pretty good chances. Still lead it 3-1. Patrick intercepts it. Shoots. Good save by Fuhrer. Came way out to challenge. Kruschelniski looking for Yari Curry.
Super save by Grant Fuhrer. Aggressive on the play. Steve Patrick. Bad giveaway by Paul Coffey.
Gretzky racing down the right side. Rink wide to Kruschelniski. Curry in front. Centered for him. That was intercepted by Rutsalainen. Coffey keeps it in along the boards. Good move on Pavelec. Centers it. And that's poked away to Ledyard. To Anders Hedberg, who has the Ranger goal tonight. Pavelec is trailing on the play. Hedberg going wide on Fogle, and he ties him up. Pavelec in the corner. Curry back checking. Lowe goes after it. Side of the net. Rutsalainen in front. Hedberg shot. And that hit Kevin Lowe, and he was hit high and may have been shaken up. Gretzky by himself. What a move on Ledyard. And Brook made a good defensive play. Turned Ledyard inside out. Hedberg takes a solid check from Fogelin.
You know, it's really something when Wayne Gretzky really is turned on by a building and really comes to play and have a, you know, all his nights are super nice, but one is a little bit special. This one is turning out to be a little bit special.
Lumley trying to jam it in on the short side. Barry Beck was there for New York. Beck roughing up Lumley against the corner boards. Dave Hunter turns away from Rogers. Brook got a stick up on Pat Hughes. They're still mixing it up, and we'll keep our eyes on them. They're still having a battle. Here's Lumley to Gregg. Banned on the shot. Hughes goes after it behind the net for Dave Hunter. Barry Beck hammered him into the boards. Lumley took a run at Sandstrom. Brook is hit by Hughes. Thomas Sandstrom, long shot off the stick of Gregg, and Pure had to be alert to make the save. Tuck in the corner, Randy Gregg has it. Up on the boards for Lindstrom, kept in by Greshner. Here's Greshner in front. Backhand, tried to center it, puck rolling, there's a shot. Oh, what a save by Grant Pure. Big pile up in front.
Well, this line with Lumley back at center ice is going to spark the play of Hunter and Hughes as far as being aggressiveness, goes, and you're certainly seeing it in this hockey game. Sensational save by Grant Pure as he recovered as the puck was deflected and bouncing around that goal net. Exciting game, Bruce, in a very fast-paced hockey game.
You're watching the Oilers live on ITV. Fast and entertaining first period, 6:17 remaining. Oilers leading 3-1. Face off to the left of Grant Pure between LaRouche and Mark Messier. He will take a lot of draws for the Oilers in the defensive zone. Here's Charlie Huddy. To Paul Coffey. Didn't get much wood on it, but did get it to Billy Carroll, who has his 7th goal tonight. Winds up for the shot. Stick save by Hanlon. James Patrick to Brook behind the net. Fans on the pass. Simenko steals it. Centers it. Patrick and Carroll fought for the puck. Rangers finally get it out. Here's Erickson with James Patrick trailing. In front for LaRouche. He goes into the corner, centers it, put it right on Huddy's stick. Now to Willie Lindstrom down the right side. Billy Carroll to Charlie Huddy. He dumps it in behind the Ranger net. Sundstrom to Erickson. Now to Pierre LaRouche against 2 Oiler defenders. Couldn't get anywhere, and Willie Lindstrom has it.
Bruce, you talked about it being an entertaining hockey game, quite simply because Ron Fournier, the referee, is letting them play hockey. It's fairly aggressive out there, but they're keeping the sticks down, and he's not calling anything. That's the way to call a game. It's fun that way.
Simenko goes after it in the corner against Batiu. Couple of heavyweights there. Theo loses it to Messier. Here's Napier moving and shoots. Saved by Hanlon. The rebound in front, and Hanlon's on top of it. Right of Glenn Hanlon. Good chance for Mark Napier there as he sped in after that loose puck. Got a good shot away on Hanlon. Oilers have outshot the Rangers 11-6 and lead it 3-1 as Messier shoots it in behind the net. Hanlon up the boards for Blaisdell. This is the second shift of the period for the Rangers' 4th line of Batiu, Fatorick, and Blaisdell. Robbie Fatorick bumped by Fogelin. Ledyard was thumped by Messier as play is whistled down.
Grant Ledyard's been a great surprise for these New York Rangers. He's played very well, getting a lot more ice time. He was hurt during training camp. Here you can see the strength of Mark Messier. He used his legs to throw Ledyard into the glass in the boards area. You can see that blue part of the glass where it's cushioned so the players won't get hurt. Messier very strong, and you know he's on the top of his game when he uses his body as much as he did on that last check. Still talking a little bit about his timing. Wants to get it going a little bit more. Sensational hockey player.
4 shorthanded goals this season for Mark Messier. Now to Mark Napier. His pass was blocked by Ruotsalainen. Brook plays it back for James Patrick. Anderson forechecking for the Oilers. Anders Hedberg to Ruotsalainen. 2-on-1 with Pavelec. In front, a shot. They score!
The pass that Anders Hedberg makes to set this play up is unbelievable. He had his back turned towards the play, and he slides the puck up. Watch how he just slides it up by instinct. It's a 2-on-1. Now Grant Pure gets a piece of this puck. Off his goal pad as Mark Pavelich shot it into the open side. Now Ruotsalainen has a good angle here to shoot with, and Grant Fuhr doesn't know whether he's going to shoot it or fake it and pass it. You can see the pass, and Fuhr was out so far he couldn't get across, and you saw the puck go off the bottom of his pad and just ricochet into the top of the net. Got a pretty good game going here now, 3-2 in favor of the Oilers.
7th goal of the season for Mark Pavelich. Many of his teammates feel he's one of the most underrated players in the NHL. You can see why on that play. Sandstrom tied up by Randy Gregg, still has it. Cleared it right across the crease. Fuhr didn't even see where it went. Now here's Gretzky with Kruschelniski and Curry. Wide open first period. Kruschelniski looking for Curry. Steve Patrick out on the right side. Here's Sandstrom with Mike Rogers. Rogers shoots, scores!
Well, the fans are loving it here in Madison Square Garden. Now, Ben Hanlon went down on the goal earlier. He shouldn't have. Here we're going to see Grant Fuhr go down. He shouldn't have. A good outlet pass by Patrick. Sundstrom, and now Rogers gets away from Don Jackson. Both defensemen on the same side, and he just slides it through the legs. Don Jackson was back-checking with Mike Rogers, and Rogers got away from him just enough to get the puck directed towards the net. Jackson went off stride a little bit. So, it's tough for a goaltender to stop a puck when the player is skating to his left, shoots back to the right. But Grant Fuhr should have stayed on his feet.
Here's Gretzky. Still has it. Turning against Greshner, centers it for Kruschelniski, trying to get the shot away. Curry back at the point for Randy Gregg. Now to Gretzky behind the net. Curry in the corner. Make that Kruschelniski. Ledyard had him all bottled up, and it's Eriksson to center. Now to Pavelich. To Greshner. A shot, scores!
Well, the Edmonton Oilers are getting themselves in a shootout, a 3-on-2 on this particular play. The Rangers are capitalizing on their chances. Good drop pass by LaRue. A 3-on-2. Everybody backs in. And Greshner just simply blasts the puck right through the legs of Grant Fuhr. It's a 3-on-2. Defenseman backing in and working on Randy Gregg's side of the ice. Look how much time Ron Greshner had to shoot the puck. You might say Grant Fuhr was wrong on that play, but he was out. He played his angle. The puck found a hole, but it was a 3-on-2.
There's Brook, a shot saved by Fuhr. Rangers after it again. LaRouche trying to center it. Charlie Huddy to Dave Hunter. He whacks it off the boards. Mark Pavelich for New York. To Ruotsalainen shoots just wide. 3 goals, 58 seconds apart by the Rangers, and they lead it 4-3. Hedberg to Ruotsalainen, and his shot goes over the glass and out of play. 3 goals, 58 seconds apart. You're watching the Oilers on ITV. Well, the New York Rangers have exploded on that man, Grant Fuhr, with 3 goals, 58 seconds apart. And they lead it 4-3 in what has been a wild first period. There's 2:36 left. Kevin Lowe for the Oilers. Rangers have come to life. Here's Steve Patrick behind the net. Centers and they score!
Glenn Sather can't believe the chances his hockey club is giving up in their own zone. Bad defensive play by the Edmonton Oilers. Watch the pass by Steve Patrick. Watch how he skates. Nobody around him. He's got all the time in the world to look up to make a play. People sprawling. Shuffles the pass across. Nobody can make the save as Rogers is standing right over there all by himself. 2 players were on Sandstrom, the Swedish player. Rogers is having a sensational period himself. Here we see Fogland's down. Now 2 players are going to take Sandstrom in front of the net. See the 2 players over on Sandstrom? Nobody on Rogers. He simply puts it in the open side, and the Rangers are going to town, Bruce.
Rogers' second goal of the night, 19th of the season, and they are receiving a standing ovation from the crowd here at Madison Square Garden. The Oilers had a 3-1 lead. It's now 5-3 New York. Nice play by Steve Patrick to set up that last one by Mike Rogers.
Speaking from a player's point of view, there's not a better feeling in sports than when your hometown fans give you a standing ovation like that. The Rangers deserve it very much. They're really flying. We're just flying here.
Here's Sundstrom cutting around Jackson, a backhand shot. Fuhr got a piece of that. Hands were ready for another goal. Here's Jackson. Pass went behind Glenn Anderson.
Coming up in the first intermission on Hockey Horizons, we'll feature Rangers goaltender Glenn Hanlon. We'll also have a report on the Oilers' blue line core, a defense that never rests.
Player that doesn't get involved too often, Mark Napier. As you look at the Oiler bench, they're no doubt surprised by what has happened here in the first period.
There's going to be one player from each team going to the penalty box. Mark Napier from the Oilers, John Erickson from the Rangers. Craig Patrick spent the last week with his hockey team. They had 5 days off. They gave him 2 days off. The other 3 they worked on their defensive play. He feels that if they play well in their defensive zone, that will create more offensive plays, Bruce, simply because the puck won't be in their own zone that much. I guess it makes sense. The Rangers, both teams were flying, but the Rangers have just picked it up as the period has progressed.
Mark Messier takes the puck and skates back in his own zone. Teams are 5 aside. Here's Glenn Anderson. Back for Messier. Randy Craig watches the high bouncing puck, and the Rangers bring it back. Pavelich to Hedberg. He was stopped along the boards by Anderson. Pavelich keeps it in, lets the slap shot go. Stick saved by Fuhr. Ruotsalainen at the point. In behind the net, Jackson is there, taken away by Pavelich. Right in front, a shot by James Patrick, juggled by Fuhr, but he hangs on.
Again, the Rangers are taking advantage of the players away from the puck. We'll see the Rangers have the puck in the corner. Pavelich does. No, the Oilers aren't paying attention to people away from the puck. There you can see Patrick moves in. Fuhr has to make another big save. That was a tough shot from the slot area. For the Oilers, they've got to pick up those people, not worry about who's got the puck. Pick up your own check on the other side of the ice, and they won't get those point-blank shots towards Grant Fuhr.
I wonder what's running through his mind right now. Grant Fuhr usually plays well here in New York, but he's been beaten for 5 in the first period. Steve Patrick and Wayne Gretzky to the right of Fuhr. Sandstrom behind the net. Gretzky is there for the Oilers. To Paul Coffey. Curry can't get away from Sandstrom. Coffey in front for Curry. That was broken up by Ledyard. To Sandstrom at center. He turns away from 2 Oilers, Gretzky and Curry. Barry Beck. Steve Patrick missed Sandstrom with the pass. Here's Beck at his own line, less than a minute to go. First period, Sandstrom splitting the defense, trying to use his speed now, and diving to make the play was Charlie Huddy. Sandstrom back for Ledyard. Shoot, scores!
Well, you saw Glenn Sather shaking his head. Again, I have to mention, play away from that puck. There's the expression of Craig Patrick. He can't believe it. Away from the puck. The Rangers just moved the puck back across the ice. Nobody's checking these players. Look how much time Grant Ledyard's got to set up the play. You have to feel sorry for Grant Fuhr. He's just guessing, and they're not his fault. Look at the beautiful pass work by the Rangers, getting in those holes. This is the first time they've scored 6 goals in a period this year. They had scored 5 against New Jersey earlier in the season. The Rangers are on fire. You can see on Andy Moog's forehead, he's got a cut area. He was cut by a shot in practice a couple of days ago, and he may be seeing some action shortly.
Like the start of the second period.
15 seconds.
Mike Rogers in his own zone. For LaRouche. Knocked down by Kruschelniski, goes around Greshner. In front for Hughes, and he fanned on the shot. Low at the point. Watched by Greshner to Hughes. His pass was intercepted by Pierre LaRouche. A penalty coming up to the New York Rangers. And it'll be holding Kevin Lowe. Upset, Ron Greshner draws the penalty for New York.
Bruce, that happened as the Rangers were breaking out of their own zone. Ron Greshner grabbed Kevin Lowe's stick as Kevin Lowe was trying to get back in the play. Not really a smart play by Ron Greshner. Late in the period, only 14 seconds left. His team has a 3-goal lead. This, if the Oilers don't score shortly here, it'll certainly give them some incentive to come out during the second period.
Craig Patrick, the Ranger coach.
On his right, our left, was Steve Richmond, one of the players, a defenseman for the Rangers, not dressed during this hockey game.
Patrick 2-7-1 since taking over from Herb Brooks as Rangers coach. There's 14 seconds remaining in the period. Oilers on their second power play.
Big article in Sports Illustrated this week on Wayne Gretzky. He's on the cover. 3 or 4 page article. It's rather interesting.
Barry Beck just dumps it in with 9 seconds in the period. Coffey will have to hustle. Takes a look at the clock, fakes the shot, now lets it go, saved by Hanlon, and the Rangers will leave the ice to a standing ovation. The score after 1 period, the Rangers 6 and the Oilers 3.
A reputation of being the leader in the equipment rental business. At Certified Rentals, we live up to that name.
When a customer calls, you need all the right answers, and our professionals have them.
Proper maintenance of equipment will ensure our customers get the best results. We're proud of the quality of our work and equipment.
Products you can trust. Certified service. Suppliers to contractors and industry in Western Canada. When renting or purchasing, make sure it's certified.
Leading 6-3. Gretzky behind the net looking for Curry. Beck fell but made a good defensive play. Here's Curry again. The Oilers are on the power play. Huddy, a slap shot high and wide. Ron Greshner in the penalty box for holding his Coffey. Flicked it out of play.
The Rangers held a meeting just before the hockey game about the power play of the Oilers. Barry Beck and his squad had the meeting before the hockey game talking about the Edmonton power play. They discussed the fact that there's so many variables that the Edmonton Oilers use. I think the turning point of the first period was when Barry Beck and Willie Huber used their body when they were killing penalties, especially on Glenn Anderson in front of the New York Ranger net.
Andy Moog has replaced Grant Fuhr in the Oiler net like we thought he would. And Paul Coffey has the puck to Charlie Huddy. Oilers on the power play. 54 seconds in Greshner's penalty. Kruschelniski shoots over top of the net, a screen shot. Kruschelniski in the corner behind the net for Gretzky. Curry in the corner. Here's Coffey from the point. Across to Charlie Huddy. Return pass to Paul Coffey. Takes the slap shot. And a good save by Glenn Hanlon.
And now the home hardware summary for the first period. 9 goals. Gretzky and Dave Hunter made it 2-0 Edmonton. Anders Hedberg made it a 2-1 game. Billy Carroll put Edmonton ahead 3-1. Then it was all Rangers. Mark Pavlich, Mike Rogers. Then Ron Greshner, Mike Rogers again, and Ledger to make the score 6-3. The shots on goal, the Rangers 15, the Oilers 11.
Glenn Hanlon making a good save on Paul Coffey. 38 seconds in the penalty to Ron Greshner. Important power play for the Oilers. They'd like to score that 4th goal and get some momentum going. Golfed in front by Kruschelniski. LaRouche got it to Pavlich, and he shoots it down the ice. Paul Coffey back to get it. Time running out on the penalty to Ron Greshner. Here's Coffey leading the rush for the Oilers. Stops as he crosses the line. Over to Huddy. Lets the shot go. Tipped just wide by Kruschelniski. Gretzky centers it. They score! Kruschelniski.
It ends up being a power play goal for the Edmonton Oilers as Ron Greshner still had 13 seconds remaining. A big goal for the Edmonton Oilers gets them back in the hockey game. Now, in this play, Kruschelniski, they talk about his size and his strength. Barry Beck had some trouble with him, keeping him out from the side of the net. Now, Kruschelniski stays out far enough that he doesn't get tied up. There you can see he stays away from Beck, even though the puck deflects off Beck's stick. If Kruschelniski had been closer to that goal net, they would have been able to tie him up, at least grab his hockey stick, and he wouldn't have been able to score. He was smart enough to stay out of that crease area, picked up a loose puck, and scored the power play goal.
36th goal of the year for Mike Kruschelniski, and it's 6-4. What a high-scoring affair we have tonight as Kevin Lowe holds it to center. Sandstrom shooting it in for New York.
On assist from number 22,
Charlie Huddy drawing an assist on the goal by Kruschelniski along with Paul Coffey. Messier is stopped by James Patrick. Lee Vogelin. Out in Napier. Brook was there for New York to Ruotsalainen. Sandstrom is trailing. Goes behind the net. Now to Brook at the point. His shot. Stick save by Andy Moog and a souvenir for the crowd. Live from New York, this is your Molson Hockey Telecast. 2 minutes, 20 seconds have been played in the second period. It's the Rangers 6 and the Oilers 4. Mike Kruschelniski with his 36th goal of the season. In this second period, Rangers scored 5 goals in 3 minutes and 22 seconds near the end of the first. Here's Ron Greshner. His weak shot steered aside by Andy Moog. Don Jackson for Dave Simenko. Pass was too high, and Ledyard has it for Hedberg. Through his skates, Don Jackson for Simenko. Kept in by Ruotsalainen. Winding up in front for Hedberg. Poke check, rebound, and a shot just wide by Ruotsalainen, who was following up on the play. Puck bounces over Jackson's fingers. Pavlich's shot, he hit the goalpost, and it bounces to Moog, who will hang on.
Well, this line for the New York Rangers certainly clicking. Andy Moog had some tough work early in the second period. Now remember, he's playing with a cut on his forehead as he took a shot from Randy Gregg in a practice last Wednesday. Good work around the goal net by the Rangers, only no goals. Anders Hedberg has trouble controlling this. Moog's way out on him, uses that goal stick to his advantage. Ruotsalainen bats at the puck. Ruotsalainen likes to come in from behind the play, find that open seam. Nearly scored on that last play.
Robbie Fatorick now at center against Kruschelniski, Gretzky, Curry, his line mates. They'll see more ice time with the Oilers trailing, no doubt. Fatorick centered it. Charlie Huddy has it to Gretzky. Return pass to Huddy to Kruschelniski with Curry. Kruschelniski trying to beat Beck one-on-one. He couldn't, and Robbie Fatorick has it to Mike Blaisdell, former first-round draft pick of the Detroit Red Wings. He came over to the Rangers along with Mark Osborne and Willie Huber. Ron Duguay, Eddie Mio, and Eddie Johnston going to Detroit. Here's Coffey to Gretzky. He mishandled it, and Blaisdell clears it out.
Howie Singer, a stats man from Madison Square Gardens up here. He was clocking Gretzky in the first period. Gretzky had more than 8 minutes of ice time during that first period. We'll see how much he gets in the second.
Mike Blaisdell. Poke check by Yari Curry. Puck came out. Fatorick across for Brook as both teams have made changes. Here's Gretzky. He falls near center. Nick Fotiu. Sidestep the hip check from Charlie Huddy and still has it. Good strength by Fotiu. Behind the net, Dave Hunter has it. He scored a goal in the first period for the Oilers. Kevin Lowe rolling it ahead for Gretzky. Patrick was back, or the Oilers would have had a 2-on-1. Fotiu feeds it in for Pierre LaRouche. Kevin Lowe around the boards. It's kept in there by Eriksson. LaRouche takes the shot. Saved by Moog. Rebound in front. And Sundstrom's shot went to the corner. Here's Eriksson to Sundstrom. Can't get the shot away. Fed in front for LaRouche. And Andy Moog hangs on with the Rangers buzzing around his net. 15:28 to play in the period. Rangers lead by 2. Paul Coffey with a pair of assists tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. 78 points on the season now, as you saw. Leads all defensemen in the NHL.
He was commenting today on how the management of the Oilers keep all the players loose. Well, I don't think they'd be that loose after that. Probably the talk they had between the first and second periods here in New York.
Sure, they tightened up just a little bit after that first period. James Patrick to Peter Sundstrom. Eriksson to Sundstrom, a shot just wide, a low drive. Eriksson behind the net, trying to center it. Sundstrom's in the crease. Puck is still loose. Now it's behind the net, and Pat Hughes has it. Rangers have come close to getting their 7th goal this period, but haven't scored it yet. Here's Randy Gregg. He was checked. And the Rangers come out. Lumley waiting back in his own zone. Upends LaRouche and gets away with it. Don Jackson to Dave Lumley. Now to Dave Hunter. Larry Melnick not in the Oiler lineup tonight. Either is Yaroslav Pozar. Kevin McClellan still with that knee injury. Dave Hunter turning against Greshner. Didn't get much wood on the pass. And it's Ledyard. Poke check by Charlie Huddy. And the Rangers are offside.
Charlie Huddy and his teammates getting a lot of work back in their own zone, as the Rangers, with their persistent forechecking, certainly works. Charlie Huddy's been talking a lot about how well he's been playing in the National Hockey League. He says, looking back, it has to be the heavy workload he got when he was playing in the minors. Again, the Rangers really trying to penetrate that goal crease there. For the Oilers, right in that area, taking the body this time. Last period, they were not. And that generally keeps the puck out of the net when the opposition ends up off their feet and on their backs. It's tough to score.
Dave Lumley was checked right at the line, but again, the Rangers are offside. Rangers have outshot the Oilers 21-15. Dave Lumley happy to be an Oiler again after being claimed on waivers from Hartford.
Playing center ice, it's not new to him. He's played 2 games there this season. The last 2, as a matter of fact, and he played 2 games at center last year. Jokingly today, he says he plays just like Jean Rattel used to here in New York. He's got a good sense of humor, and it's a good spark for the Oiler Hockey Club.
Paul Coffey watched by Steve Patrick. Ledyard in his own zone. Fed it on the left wing. Nobody there. Back to get it is Paul Coffey. Patrick beat him to it, and Moog had to cover up on the short side. An alert play by Steve Patrick.
Steve Patrick came over from Buffalo when he was involved with a trade for Dave Maloney. He's been hurt a lot, had a lot of back problems. Gets to the rink first of any of the New York Rangers to try and have his back treated daily. Now, Glenn Sather, if there's a chance for him to show his true coaching knowledge, it's now to get his team going, and he does have the knowledge to do it. Greg Patrick, his philosophy generally is to get the team feeling good about themselves, enjoy the game of hockey, and his Rangers are certainly flying during this hockey game.
Says they're feeling pretty good. They're just having trouble winning. Here's Barry Beck on a playoff hunt along with New Jersey and Pittsburgh in the Patrick division. Just 2 points ahead of those teams. Here's Lee Fogelman. Flipping it ahead for Kruschelniski. Curry follows up. Gretzky cruising near center. Curry winding up, takes the shot. And the save by Glenn Hamlin. Willie Huber. Tallest player in the NHL at 6'5" to Mark Pavelich. He falls at the Oiler line against Kevin Lowe. Pavelich was at the rink early tonight, about 4:30. Here's Yari Curry dumping it in, goes right to Hamlin. He scoops it up and will hang on. 13-17 is the time left in the second period. 6-4 Rangers. Face off to the left of Glenn Hanlon. Billy Carroll against Pierre LaRouche. Puck goes into the corner. Simenko goes after Patrick. Jackson flattened Peter Sundstrom.
Now this is one of the first shifts that this Billy Carroll's line has been out this period. Simenko is mean. He just threw 2 body checks offensively.
Brooks' shot goes off a skate wide. Patrick cruising in from the point. Tried to center it, hit Jackson's stick. Dave Simenko has it. Lindstrom and Carroll with him. Big Dave Simenko across the line. In front for Carroll, looking for Lindstrom. Simenko got spun around. Randy Gregg behind the Ranger net. Ran into the referee, Fournier. James Patrick fires it down the ice. Billy Carroll back to get it. Icing against the Rangers.
Frozen halibut steaks or pieces, $2.19 a pound, $4.83 a kilogram. Safeway, working hard to be your favorite food store.
Dave Simenko, who set up a goal in the first period, he made a couple of beautiful plays last Friday in Minnesota against the North Stars to give Willie Lindstrom a pair of goals, and actually turned out to be the winner.
He was joking today that this is his rink. He scored a hat trick here one time against Doug Sotard in the New York Rangers. Yeah, I guess he could use one tonight, the way things are going for the Oilers.
Oilers trailing 6-4. Paul Coffey looking for Anderson. Puck out through center. Coffey's back to get it. Robbie Fatorick forechecking for New York. Batiou had Coffey all lined up. Coffey had his head up, though. Here's Charlie Huddy to Mark Napier. Hit Ledyard. Ranger falling on top of the puck.
Friday, February 22nd, 1 week from tonight, the Oilers return to Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, and the hockey action returns to ITV. A 7:30 start as the Quebec Nordiques beat the Edmonton Oilers next Friday night, only on ITV.
Messier, Anderson, and Napier up front for the Oilers as Coffey dumps it into the corner. Napier for Anderson. Messier waiting behind the net. Fatorick got to it first for Mike Blaisdell. Charlie Huddy broke it up near center. Erickson has it. Ledyard spun around by Coffey. Messier took an elbow from Fatiu. Fatorick for Blaisdell. Now to Fatiu. Messier hit the big Ranger. Now it's Huddy for Mark Napier. Beck moving up as the Rangers starting to throw their weight around. Oilers 2-on-1. Coffey with Anderson. Centers it. And Fatorick got back for New York. Here's Beck. To Ledyard. His shot just wide. Beck after it in the corner. Got spun around by Charlie Huddy. Erickson, or make that Fatiu, knocks him to the ice. And they'll face off in the Oilers zone. You're watching the Oilers on ITV. I'm Bruce Buchanan with John Davidson. Some good body checking going on at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Well, obviously, the Oilers had a discussion in their dressing room, and they've got some big players out there. They may as well use their body, guys like Don Jackson, Dave Simenko, and they have thus far in the second period. The Rangers are not a big hockey team, Bruce. Use the body against them.
Rogers got a weak shot away against Andy Moog. Bob Brook back in his own zone, a member of the Olympic team in the United States last year. Here's Steve Patrick. Bothered by injuries throughout most of his career, Steve Patrick played well tonight. Dave Hunter to Dave Lumley. Rogers left it for Patrick. Lee Fogelin. To Hughes to Dave Hunter. With Dave Lumley. Hunter to Hughes, his shot. Good save by Glenn Hanlon. Kevin Lowe sees it coming, trying to keep it in for the Oilers, but Brook has it. Lead pass to Sandstrom with Rogers. He was way offside.
Not a very smart play by Sandstrom. First of all, he could have passed the puck to Rogers for a breakaway, and second of all, the whistle went, and he took a slap shot and hit one of the Oilers in the foot. It may have been Kevin Lowe, I'm not real sure. And that had to be a good 2 or 3 seconds after the whistle had gone. I can understand why the Oilers are upset with the play. He's one of these Swedish hockey players that has got tougher as a Swede hockey player goes the last few years. He loves to play the corners of the rink, but he drives the other team nuts. He gets to stick up a lot. And there you can see he took the slap shot a good 2 or 3 seconds after the whistle had gone.
Faceoff will come outside the Oiler line to the right of Andy Moog, who replaced Grant Fear to start the second period. Hasn't been beaten yet. And the Oilers hope he won't be, trailing 6-4.
The last time these two teams met, Kruschelniski got the hat trick, the 3-goal performance in Edmonton. The 5-1 win.
Top two lines on the ice for both teams. Kruschelniski, Curry, and Gretzky for the Oilers. Pavelec with Hedberg and Ruotsalainen for the Rangers. Gretzky, goal and an assist tonight. Looking for some help was Hook. Ruotsalainen has it. Penalty to the New York Rangers as Wayne Gretzky was hooked trying to make a play. So it'll be the second power play opportunity of the hockey game for the Edmonton Oilers.
When Wayne Gretzky gets the puck, he loves to make the other team take penalties. This time Willie Huber held him down. And watch out, the last time the Oilers were on a power play, Kruschelniski scored. Another chance to close the gap to within 1 goal, Bruce.
Oilers 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. All Coffey to Wayne Gretzky. To Charlie Huddy. Curry and Kruschelniski also on this power play, but the Rangers have a break. Erickson with Sundstrom, centers it, and Sundstrom couldn't get a stick on it. Good back checking by Wayne Gretzky, but he will get a penalty. Sundstrom fans on it, and the teams will be at even strength. This telecast is protected by copyright, and is intended solely for the non-commercial entertainment of our viewing audience. Any use, reproduction, or distribution in whole or in part of the pictures or descriptions herein contained without the express consent of Canadian Sports Network and ITV is strictly prohibited.
Well, you can see Wayne Gretzky reach out with his stick, kind of a marginal call as far as I'm concerned. Let's say they're not very happy whatsoever. He's got a point. Charlie, how do you cough the puck up? Wayne Gretzky worked his tail off just to get back into the play. And actually, the puck deflected off of the other defenseman's skate. I believe it was Coffey, and that's why the shot
picks it up in the corner. He was knocked to the ice by Kevin Lowe. Fogelin behind the net. Less than a minute to play, second period. 6-4 Rangers leading. Ledyard goes back behind his net. Now to Barry Beck, the Ranger captain. His pass hit Wayne Gretzky. Mike Rogers with Sandstrom shoots. Good save by Andy Moog on the short side. And he throws it ahead for Don Jackson. Now to Yari Curry. Gets to the Ranger line and dumps it in wide of the net. Hanlon out to play it. Jackson at the point with some time. In front to Curry. To Gretzky, hit the side of the net. Then it scores! Gretzky.
That's the second goal of this hockey game for Wayne Gretzky. Only 12 seconds left in the period. It's got to be a backbreaker for the New York Rangers. Watch Barry Beck and Glenn Hanlon reach for the puck here. It's deflected in front. Gretzky misses the open net. Now watch Beck. He thinks he's a goaltender. He's going to go down, try and stop it instead of worrying about Gretzky. There you see the puck come back. Beck doesn't worry about Gretzky. He goes down. So does Glenn Hanlon. Gretzky stays elusive and puts it in the open side.
Well, he had 3 or 4 whacks at it, finally put it in the net, and it's 6-5. What a goal for the Oilers with only 12 seconds left in the period. Jackson clears it. Rangers Rogers shoots it back in, and that does it for the period.
And you see Wayne Gretzky picks up that loose puck. He keeps his balance on one leg, shuffles it into the open side. You talk about a backbreaker. That's got to play on the minds of the New York Rangers. They know that the Edmonton Oilers are the highest scoring team in the league, the most offensive power. With the third period coming back, Andy Moog played very well. Watch out, here come the Oilers.
The score after 2 periods, the Rangers 6 and the Oilers 5. Ranger fans. Period is just underway. 6-5. The Rangers leading the Oilers. That goal late in the second period by Wayne Gretzky should inspire the Oilers for this third. Messier slid it in, and Huber clears it for New York. Fatorick with Fatiou. Pass was too far ahead for him behind the net. Blaisdell unable to center it, and Mark Napier, the Oilers number 18, to Glenn Anderson. Drops it for Messier, lets the shot go, glove save by Hanlon, and he just hangs on off balance.
Great save early in the third period for Glenn Hanlon. Now, let's keep in mind that Willie Huber has not played a lot of hockey lately. He's had knee problems, and Beck's had the shoulder problem. They're both back in. Now, we have to watch during the third period how much ice time Beck and Huber get and how much they do back in. Messier is so strong. He's got that quick wrist shot, and Glenn Hanlon made a sensational save with his glove, covered up with a rebound. Now, again, keep in mind about Beck and Huber being on the ice. They may struggle a bit.
Gretzky, Kruschelniski, and Curry up front for the Oilers now. Bob Brook to James Patrick. On the left side for Sandstrom, he drops it back. Gretzky giving chase for the Oilers. Patrick again for Steve Patrick, his brother. Now to Rogers. Puck bounce tie, and Curry tracks it down. Mike Rogers with 2 goals tonight for New York shoots it in. Andy Moog stopping it behind the net for Jackson. Moog had a good second period, John.
Well, they needed that. The Oilers gave up 6 in the first, none in the second. And Andy Moog really played well during that period. Now, it appears as if one of the Rangers, looks like Steve Patrick, went hard into the goal post as he was coming across in front. He gets up and attempts to get off the ice on his own without the help of the trainer. Steve Patrick's a strong, what they call a power forward. Loves to take the body as much as possible, and we both talked about it tonight. He takes, or has a lot of problem with injuries.
Good size, 6'4", 205 pounds, was Buffalo's first-round pick. In 1980, 20th overall, played his junior hockey in Brandon. I had the opportunity to see him play. A pretty good goal scorer in junior hockey. He really hasn't found the mark in the NHL yet.
Now, we talked about Andy Moog. It's very, very valuable to a hockey club when you know a goaltender can come off the bench and perform well. You never know when injuries arise or when there needs to be a change, like Grant Fuhr, as in Grant Fuhr being taken out at the end of the first. Moog controls himself, and he appears to be playing with so much confidence.
Look at Mike Kruschelniski, who has 18 goals in his last 17 games for the Oilers. Right in front, Hedberg, a backhand shot, and Andy Moog made the save. This has been the most dangerous line. Speaking of dangerous, here's Wayne Gretzky. To Curry, he centers it. Greshner is there. Ledyard tipped it to center. 2-on-1 for the Rangers. Ruotsalainen with Hedberg. Ruotsalainen backhand score!
We talked about the skating ability of Reijo Ruotsalainen. He takes the puck away from Paul Coffey, and he just turns it on. He goes to the outside of Charlie Huddy. Watch him cut across. Now, Huddy's going to dive and maybe deflect the puck just a little bit, but he uses his body, he places his feet properly, and shuffles it into the top corner past Andy Moog. Now, see, Coffey's got the puck. He mishandles it, and there it goes, Ruotsalainen. Now he turns it on. Skating ability. He shows some grace and some speed. Top corner on Andy Moog off the goal post. Puts the Oilers in a hole. They're down 2 goals now.
Beautiful backhand shot by Reijo Ruotsalainen, unassisted at 1:31, and it's 7-5 New York. Giving Glenn Hanlon some breathing space.
You know, it took Ruotsalainen a couple of years here in New York to get accustomed to the lifestyle, the language. When he came over from Finland, he knew no English whatsoever. He went and took some courses at a university in downtown New York. Has progressed well, and I really think he's thriving on the coaching change. He really seems to enjoy playing for Craig Patrick.
Lumley, Hunter, and Hughes up front for the Oilers. Big Willie Huber behind the net. Down the boards, pinching in, is Randy Gregg. To Lumley in the corner. Watched by Barry Beck. Now to Randy Gregg. Slap shot went wide. At Hughes. Centers it. Lumley lifted it over top of the net. Rolls it in front for Hunter. And we've got a fight in the corner between Erickson and Pat Hughes. Hughes getting that left free. They mixed it up pretty good in the first period, and we kind of expected something between these two. Pretty good toe-to-toe battle.
They're both the same size, and not one player had the advantage over the other player. That's why the linesman let them go a little bit, Bruce. When the fight first started, Erickson for the New York Rangers forgot to take his gloves off when he went in for the fisticuffs. Lots of intensity on the ice.
Live from New York, this is your Molson hockey telecast. Erickson and Hughes fighting majors at 2:05.
Each for fighting.
So Glenn Taylor puts Gretzky out at center. That kind of helps the line go a little bit.
Dave Lumley shifts over to the right side. Barry Beck falling, reaching for the puck. It squirts loose. Lumley forechecking against LaRouche. It's kept in by Don Jackson. Dave Hunter with Blaisdell all over him. Hunter will try and force the faceoff. Beck moves in, and they'll get one to the right of Glenn Hanlon.
Barry Beck's upset with the referee. He feels that the play should have been stopped sooner than what it was. Beck took a hit from Don Jackson. You see the Oilers not afraid to send their defenseman in towards the play. That last shift, Jackson moved in. Randy Gregg's moved in quite a bit during the hockey game himself. Certainly not laying back, playing shallow in his own zone. Beck upset with the play. He should try and conserve his energy.
Gretzky and Mike Rogers on the face-off. Rogers winning it. Bob Brook standing on his pass. James Patrick to Thomas Sandstrom. Now to Rogers with Steve Patrick breaking in on the left side. Centers it. And Sandstrom was unable to get the shot away.
Did you see who was back? Wayne Gretzky was back and made the defensive play.
Gretzky has the puck now. Turns against James Patrick. Trying to find some skating room. Lets the shot go. Right in front was Hunter, and he tipped it wide of the net. Lumley gets spun around by James Patrick. Sandstrom to Steve Patrick. Now to Mike Rogers. He's by himself as the Rangers are making changes, trying to split the defense. Kevin Lowe takes it away for the Oilers to Dave Lumley. On the left side for Simenko. Ledyard. He and Simenko both born in Winnipeg, but Ledyard gets away from him, then just misses a check at center. Here's Rutsalainen, and a shot! And he ripped it. A good save by Andy Moog. Greshner behind the net. Moog out to play it. Down the boards for Simenko. Ledyard has it for the Rangers. His shot weakly into Moog. Hedberg against the boards with Lindstrom, a pair of Swedes, and now it's Pavelec for New York, feeding it in on the right side. 16:23 remaining third period. It's 7-5 for the Rangers. Billy Carroll out to Willie Lindstrom. Rink wide to Dave Simenko. He'll try and catch up to it on the left side. It was poked out by Willie Huber. Lee Fogelin, who rode the subway with us to Madison Square Garden tonight. Barry Beck on the right side. Racing after it is Pavelec. Fogelin gets to it to Billy Carroll. Now to Willie Lindstrom. One-on-one against Barry Beck. Lindstrom lets the wrist shot go, and Hanlon made the save. Hard shot by Willie Lindstrom. Reijo Rutsalainen has scored in the third period. The Rangers lead it 7-5. Messier, Napier, and Anderson up front for the Oilers. Face off to the right of Glenn Hanlon. Rangers leading by 2 with 15:52 remaining. Messier winning the face-off. Coffey slap shot low and wide. Huddy couldn't keep it in at the point. He and Sundstrom battle for it along the boards. Barry Beck moves in to Pierre LaRouche against Paul Coffey. His shot scores!
Let's watch a couple of things on this goal. First of all, when LaRouche takes a slap shot, a very short windup, much like Bobby Orr used to do. Second of all, see if the puck is rolling and see if it dips on Andy Moog. LaRouche moves over, short backswing. The puck was rolling. It was much like a knuckleball as it went right by Andy Moog. Moog expected it to be into his torso, his body area. It curved right back up over top of his stick glove. Look at that puck rolling and watch a short windup. Below his waist even. Pierre LaRouche has a lot of power, a lot of strength. And a natural goal scorer get that shot away towards the net quickly. A big goal for the Rangers.
20th goal of the season for Pierre LaRouche. Barry Beck gets an assist, and it's 8-5. Rangers were blanked in the second period, but they scored 2 goals here early in the third to take command. Glenn Anderson to Paul Coffey, as the Oilers will have to open it up, and they're capable of it. Glenn Anderson, weak backhand to Hanlon. And the fans are coming to life again. Here's Rogers with Sandstrom on the left side. Rogers still has it. In front for Sandstrom. Backhand shot, and Moog stood his ground to make the save. Sandstrom again. He overskated the puck. Charlie Huddy to Glenn Anderson. Ron Greshner for Rutsalainen. He's been flying tonight. Gets away from Huddy. For Hedberg. Poked it back in the corner. Hedberg behind the net to Huber. A shot. Didn't get good wood on it, but Moog made the save. Kind of a knuckleball type shot by Willie Huber. Ron Greshner. Rangers with momentum. Now to Blaisdell. Shoots. Saved by Moog on the short side. Don Jackson for the Oilers. To Randy Gregg. Willie Huber has it for New York. Takes it to center and shoots it in. Hedberg waiting for it off the boards. Scored his 400th professional goal in the first period.
Well, Andy Moog getting some strange shots directed towards his goal. The Rangers, with Craig Patrick, the boss, certainly don't look like the squad that has already lost 29 games this season. That's as many games as the Rangers lost all last year. Let's say there has to wonder what's going on with his hockey club. They haven't given up 8 goals for quite some time.
Oilers are in tough tomorrow night in Philadelphia, and they will continue the road trip. Buffalo Monday, Sabres playing very well, and Toronto on Tuesday, and the Leafs have been no pushover lately, so a good test for the Oilers here in mid-February. This was one they were counting on tonight against the Rangers. Barry Beck back to touch it, and it's icing Oilers.
Good hustle by Barry Beck. to get back in his own zone. The Rangers have had a lot of injuries this season. Laidlaw, McPhee, and Osborne, 3 key players, will be returning for the Rangers Sunday coming. And Don Maloney, who has a badly broken leg, has been skating, and he will play next Thursday. So things are looking up as far as the New York Rangers are concerned and their injury situation.
Kevin McClellan to the Oilers with a sprained knee is on this road trip skating with the club. He should be back in about a week and a half, probably after the road trip is over, and he's looking forward to getting back into action. Don Jackson was dumped behind his net. Rangers trying to center it. Kruschelniski to Yari Curry. Now to Wayne Gretzky. 2 goals and an assist tonight. Back to Kruschelniski, moving for the net in front. Jackson couldn't get a shot away as it slid into Glenn Hanlon. There's a penalty for hooking to the Rangers as Kruschelniski was upended. Live from New York, this is your Molson hockey telecast.
Barry Beck gets a hooking penalty. The Oilers will have a chance to get back in the hockey game once again. The play was set up by Wayne Gretzky. There's a 3-on-2. Gretzky's great pass made Barry Beck turn around and hook one of the Oiler players. Now with Beck in the penalty box, that makes it doubly tough on the New York Rangers, as Beck is that strong penalty-killing defenseman in front of the Ranger goal, in front of Glenn Hanlon.
Important power play for the Oilers. They're 1 for 3 on the night, although one of their power plays only lasted 12 seconds. Pierre LaRouche.
He will take the draw. He is the best face-off man for the New York Rangers. They also have Robbie Fatorick out there in case LaRouche gets thrown out of the circle.
Kruschelniski for the Oilers to the right of Glenn Hanlon. Pierre LaRouche winning the draw. Ledyard around the boards for Fatorick. And he shoots it down the ice as the Oilers will try and organize on the power play.
As soon as LaRouche won the draw, he went off the ice immediately. And one of the other penalty killers, Brook, came on the ice.
Gretzky leading the attack, feeds it in. Rangers can't clear it. Here's Coffey, slap shot, scores!
Paul Coffey picks up his 8th power play goal of the season. We talked about the short backswings for a hockey player to get that shot towards the net. He blasts it in past Glenn Hanlon inside the goal post. A power play goal. It'll be 8-6. Gretzky decided to throw the puck in and have the club go and get it. The Rangers tried to clear it. Coffey anticipated the play, moved in against the boards and got control of the puck. And what a great shot, low on the ice just inside the goal post.
Unassisted goal by Paul Coffey, is 22nd of the year, and it's 8-6. Shootout at Madison Square Garden tonight. Mike Kruschelniski has the puck. To Gretzky. Kruschelniski goes for the front of the net. Across to Coffey. Kruschelniski in front. Back for Gretzky. Charlie Huddy moving over. Keeps it in. Here's Curry. Shoots. And that hit Beck in front. Curry in the corner. Centers it. And the Rangers have it. Steve Patrick was dumped. Wants a penalty from Fournier. Rangers did get it out. Mike Rogers gets around Coffey's with Sandstrom. Rogers shoots. Just missed the corner. Good play by Mike Rogers. He's played well tonight. Here's Ledyard in his own zone. To Ron Greshner. Ruotsalainen for Sandstrom. Now Rogers to Sandstrom again. There's his shot just wide. Anderson picks it up off the backboards. Ledyard keeps it in at the point. His slap shot right to Moog, and he hangs on with Sandstrom right there. Fogelin has his stick in Sandstrom's midsection.
Now remember what we said earlier about Sandstrom driving the other team nets. The other team nuts. There you can see him in the face of the goaltender.
You're watching the Oilers on ITV. Exactly 12 minutes remaining in the third period. 8-6 the score. Rangers in front. Rangers with 6 goals in the first period. Anders Hedberg against Fogelin. Messier has it. Messier with good speed to center. On the right side to Napier, trying to break around Pavlich's backhand. Went just wide of the net. Hunter in the corner. Messier to Napier. Back to Messier behind the net. Looking for Dave Hunter, but Ledyard has it for New York. Off the glass to Ruotsalainen, and he just slides it down the ice.
Pavlich is skating very well for the Rangers. They thought he had a cracked kneecap. They kept him off the ice for 3 days. The x-rays finally proved negative. But that rest seems to have helped Mark Pavlich. They were playing well.
Pavlich ahead for Hedberg. Kevin Lowe missed the puck. Fogelin touches it. Icing Rangers.
California-grown kiwi fruit, 3 for 99 cents. Safeway, working hard to be your favorite food store.
I was talking to Mark Napier before the game about the systems, comparing the systems between Edmonton and Minnesota. He said the system of Minnesota is just like old-time hockey, up and down your wing. They wanted him to check as much as possible, take the body as much as possible. But with Glenn Sather, there's a lot more skating, and Glenn Sather says, do what you do best. Control the puck, make the plays, and Napier sure likes it in Edmonton.
Randy Gregg to Hughes, his shot, low and wide. Bob Brook brings it out for New York with Batiu and Blaisdell. Batiu in on the left side. Glenn Anderson is checked by Blaisdell. Batiu has it for the Rangers again. Ridden off the puck by Randy Gregg. Kept in by Bob Brook. His shot. That one off. A player wide. Batiu and Jackson sticks up in front of the net. Glenn Anderson fans on the pass. Now falls against Fatorick. Good forechecking by this fourth line of the Rangers. Don Jackson to Randy Gregg. They're paired up again for the first time since January 5th. Nice move by Anderson. Upended by Bob Brook. No penalty. Lumley back to Coffey. His shot went off James Patrick to the corner.
Bob Brook got away with another one. He's throwing Glenn Anderson around. Fournier obviously isn't calling too much.
Fatorick to Blaisdell. Slap shot went off the stick of Coffey to Moog. Rangers making changes. 9:56 the time left in the third period. It's 8-6. Paul Coffey with some room as he crosses the line. Back for Curry. Sundstrom along the boards for the Rangers. He comes out with Erickson. Beck is trailing on the play. Sundstrom was stopped by Paul Coffey. Kruschelniski to Coffey. Back for Kruschelniski. Now Curry waiting near center.
Bruce, you'll see the Rangers forecheck now with what they call a 1-4 system. When Edmonton gets control of the puck, you'll just see one Ranger deep in the Edmonton zone. The other four will be back towards center ice and then their own blue line.
Join us 1 week tonight for more Oilers action only on ITV from Northlands Coliseum, a 7:30 start. The Edmonton Oilers hosting the Quebec Nordique of the Adams Division. That's Friday, February 22nd. The Oilers and the Nordique right here on ITV.
Pierre LaRouche on the Ranger bench. LaRouche was Pittsburgh's first pick, actually the 8th overall in '74. Played his junior hockey in Sorel. Here's Curry right in front. Backhand shot, and he missed the far corner. Good chance for Jari Curry. Gretzky has it now. To Kruschelniski off his skate. Sandstrom can't clear it. Kruschelniski has it. Looking for Curry. His shot. He goes after it again. Puck loose in front. Charlie Huddy keeps it in for the Oilers. To Gretzky in the corner. To Kruschelniski. He was looking for Coffey in front. And that went off Ledyard, who made a fine defensive play. Coffey rink wide for Curry. Greshner has it for New York. Sandstrom just slides it in. 8:39 remaining third period. Coffey ran into Andy Moog behind the net. Jari Curry with Kruschelniski and Gretzky. Drops it for Gretzky. A good move on James Patrick. Still has it. What a show by Gretzky. He's finally checked, and Hedberg breaks away. A 3-on-1 for the Rangers. Ruotsalainen and Pavlich. Ruotsalainen a shot. Moog the save and covers up. It may have hit him high. Good save by Andy Moog, live from New York. This is your Molson hockey telecast. 8:13 the time remaining. 8-6 the Rangers leading. Face off to the right of Andy Moog, who just stopped that bullet from Reijo Ruotsalainen. What a game he's had tonight.
Ruotsalainen, when he gets his skating legs going like he has during this hockey game, watch out. That's 39 shots on goal for the Rangers to this point. Edmonton's had 27.
There's a shot steered aside. Hedberg centers it. Lowe got his pad on that. James Patrick keeps it in. Hit Messier. Now Kevin Lowe to Mark Napier. One off him to James Patrick inside the Ranger zone. Fogelin dumped it back in. Offside Oilers.
Bob Brooks, the all-time leading scorer at Yale University. There we can see the shots. That last one on Andy Moog put the Rangers at the 40 mark. They've certainly had problems with shots on goal. Their hockey actually have been giving up a lot of shots. Glenn Hanlon in his last 7 games with 1 win, 3 losses, 3 ties, 290 shots. That's over 40 shots a game. But his save percentage was right up at .903, which isn't too bad, but it's usually the Rangers giving up a lot of shots.
Eriksson for New York drops it to Sundstrom. In front for LaRouche. That was broken up by Lee Fogelin out to Mark Messier with Napier on the right side. And he was offside.
There we could see what I was talking about with what they call a 1-4 situation. They had the 4 Rangers right back on their own blue line. The Oilers came in, they put themselves offside. Now with just that 1-4 checker for the Rangers, it enables the Oilers to skate up with a puck. They're going to have to start throwing it in, Bruce. That blue line, they're what they call stacking it right up. It's hard to get a play developed coming over that blue line. If they throw it in and go get it while they're skating on the fly, they could get something going.
Messier, Napier, and Anderson. Kevin Lowe going in deep for the Oilers as he threw it in deep, as John said they should do. Sundstrom around the boards, and Eriksson tips it out. 7:20 the time remaining. In the third period, Rangers leading by 2. Fogelin to Napier. By himself, Anderson and Messier trying to catch up. Napier waits back for Kevin Lowe, a bouncing puck, and the Rangers come out 2-on-1. Eriksson with LaRouche. LaRouche has it back in front for Eriksson. A backhand shot. Went just wide. Winding up is Greshner. And a stick save by Andy Moog. Ledyard racing in from the point. Eriksson takes a bump in the corner from Kevin Lowe. Anderson digs it free for Messier. He had a stick tied up by Sundstrom. Anderson tries it again. And Eriksson is there for New York. Sundstrom knocked off his feet by Jackson. LaRouche takes a shot off Fogelin. Jackson has it.
You see how Sundstrom was knocked down? He got right back up and made the play. He and Eriksson don't score goals, but do they ever work hard?
Dave Lumley looking for Hughes. Greshner for Sandstrom. He left it. Oilers have a chance. Hunter's shot. Rebounders. Lumley right in. Backhand shot. And diving to make the great save was Glenn Hanlon.
You're right with a great save, but Glenn Hanlon actually gave out a bit of a bad rebound for Lumley to get the chance to score. The Oilers are pressing.
Dave Hunter working his way down the boards. Taken off the puck by Patrick. Lumley trying to get a stick free from Sandstrom. Here's Brook with a good head of steam. A shot just wide. Play opening up. That's what the Oilers have to do. Trailing by 2. Finally, play is whistled down on a delayed offside.
Glenn Hanlon goes behind his net, kicks his feet or his skates, the heels of his skates against the boards. His skates are a little bit big, and he likes to wear them that way, but that's how he gets his feet back in his heels. Now watch Hanlon kick the puck out. See the bad rebound right back out. Now he does come back and make a big save as Ledyard has taken his man out. It's just the goaltender and Lumley. An aggressive play by Glenn Hanlon with his goal stick makes the save.
Dave Lumley disgusted with himself on the Oiler bench. That would have brought them to within 1. James Patrick, the Ruotsalainen. This line has been dangerous for New York tonight. Mark Pavelich played some pro hockey in Switzerland before joining the Rangers. Here's Kruschelniski to Paul Coffey. Dumps it into the corner, and Pavelich is back to get it for New York. 5:27 the time left. It's 8-6. Pavelich looking for Patrick. Coffey has it near center to Gretzky on the left side for Kruschelniski. Charlie Huddy to Yari Curry. Now to Paul Coffey. He's like a fourth forward out there in this situation. Gretzky, rink-wide pass, came outside Ranger territory. Charlie Huddy to Yari Curry. To Kruschelniski. Still has it. Centered it. One off Huber's stick. Kruschelniski in for checking. Ruotsalainen plays it down the boards. Coffey is there. His shot right to Hanlon. Screen drive. He saw it at the last moment. Now the Rangers shoot it down the ice. Back to touch it is Charlie Huddy. and it's icing New York. Live from New York, this is your Molson Hockey Telecast. I'm Bruce Buchanan with John Davidson and Tim Spellacy from Madison Square Garden in New York. 4:39, the time remaining third period. It's 8-6 for the Rangers. Anderson, a shot, and he ripped it just wide. Willie Lindstrom now on the right side on this line with Anderson and Messier. Rangers shoot it down the ice again, and it's icing.
Fatorick wasn't happy with himself as the puck went all the way down to the other end of the ice. Icing called, and again that sets up another important face-off in the New York Rangers zone. You never know what happens off of face-offs, and with Mark Messier back playing with the Edmonton Oilers, when he's on, he could be the best face-off man in the league. Kevin Lowe again getting a lot of ice time. He's the man on the Oilers that's in charge of the rock and roll music they take on the road. They get that music going in the dressing room before games. He was saying that as the playoffs near, the rock and roll music gets a little bit louder and a little bit louder and gets the team pumped up.
Robbie Fatorick taking the face-off. He was born in Needham, Massachusetts, one of the smaller players in the NHL at 155 pounds. Former most valuable player in the WHA in '77. James Patrick to Robbie Fatorick. Now to Mike Blaisdell. He just shoots it in. 4:13 the time remaining. Kevin Lowe is pushed off the puck by Blaisdell. Vogelin knocked down by Fatiu. Back behind the net. Puck goes into the corner. Fatiu and Anderson after it. Shot by Blaisdell went just wide, and now we have Willie Lindstrom draped all over Robbie Fatorick. Two players you don't see in a scuffle too often.
The emotions are running quite high. Fournier is making sure he gets things broken up before they get carried away. Fatorick and Lindstrom were going at each other for quite some time. Now Nick Fatiu and Beck in the middle of it. As we said earlier, the emotions are high here in Madison Square Garden with the fans as loud as they are. It doesn't look like too much is going to happen. Both teams certainly have to be careful to do with taking penalties this late in the hockey game. Well, watch out in front as Fatorick and Lindstrom are draped all over each other. You can see Lindstrom lock Fatorick down. They get up, they push, they shove. There you see the stick of Fatorick on Lindstrom. And they both ended up wrestling with each other.
So they should draw the original penalties. The executive producer of the Oilers on ITV is Don Wallace. Tonight's telecast was produced by Steve Lansky, directed by Ron Brown. Our technical coordinator, Phil LaFont, and our coordinator, Deborah Singer. 3:58 the time remaining, and it's 8-6 Rangers. Fatorick and Lindstrom with the penalties.
The Ranger penalty was charged.
Greg Patrick is a very level-headed coach. He tries to keep his emotions down, even though his stomach may be churning at some of the calls that happen on the ice. Tries to be a calming influence with his hockey club. We talked about Gretzky in the first period. He got over 8 minutes of ice time. During the second period, he had over 8 minutes of ice time. Again, Steve Richmond, healthy defenseman for the Rangers, not dressed. As Greshner's back in the lineup, he talks to both Wayne Thomas and Carol Badney in the press box by radio, set things up.
Erickson bumped by Kevin Lowe, and Sundstrom was hammered by Lee Vogelin. Glenn Anderson to Kevin Lowe, teams 5 aside. This is a situation the Oilers usually like. Here's Anderson, his shot went off Ledyard wide. Lowe after it behind the net. Anderson pushed off the puck by Ledyard, and he dumps it ahead to Erickson. Puck bouncing near center. Rangers are offside.
The Oilers should like this when Gretzky can get on the ice with more open ice, as it just is 4-on-4. But the Rangers countered with 20 Erickson and Sundstrom. Again, we mentioned it a number of times during the telecast, how tenacious they are and what good checkers they are.
Pavelich and Ruotsalainen up front, along with Hedberg back on defense for the Rangers. They're going with 3 forwards. Oilers have Gretzky and Curry with Huddy and Coffey. Pavelich fires it in. Moog stops it behind the net for Charlie Huddy. 3:16 left in the third period. 8-6 Rangers. Jari Kurri starting out the center with Gretzky. Gretzky takes the drop pass back to Kurri. His shot scores!
Well, this is certainly going to make it interesting. 8-7 with just 3:06 left now. Craig Patrick had put Ruotsalainen on the right side on defense along with Barry Beck. Now watch where Kurri shoots his puck from. He's a right-handed shot. He positions himself, but it's a bad angle. He's a right-handed shot that creates a little bit better of an angle just inside the goal post. A magnificent shot on goal. Now Kurri drops it off, then goes and sets himself up for the shot. Ruotsalainen stays up. Now watch the shot as Beck was a little bit slow in getting over. The defenseman tried to switch. What a super shot.
Kurri's 53rd goal of the season at 16:54 from Wayne Gretzky and Charlie Huddy. And it's 8-7. Here's Paul Coffey. Team still 5 aside. His backhand went wide against Brook. James Patrick out to Sandstrom. He gets to center, feeds it ahead for Steve Patrick. Huddy tips it to center for Coffey. Brook scoops it back inside the Oilers zone. Here's Jari Kurri. What a shot. Seemed to surprise Hanlon. To Gretzky. Now to Coffey. He's stopped by Mark Pavelich. On the left side for Ruotsalainen. Inside the Oilers zone. Puck goes in behind the net. Huddy kicking at it. Pavelich tracks it down. Gretzky takes it away from him. Here's Beck faking the shot. Now to Pavelich along the boards. He was dumped by Kruschelniski. To Paul Coffey. Gretzky cruising near center. Coffey takes it in to Gretzky along the boards. He feeds it back. No Oiler there. Hedberg's one-on-one against Lee Fogelin. Hedberg's wrist shot off Fogelin and out of play.
That last play would have been a 2-on-1 except for Wayne Gretzky reached out, grabbed a hold of Barry Beck's stick. Barry Beck would have been the trailer on the 2-on-1. And Gretzky yanked the stick right out of his hands, so showed some strength. Pretty good defensive play because he got away with it. There we see Ruotsalainen. He's been getting a lot of ice time. He keeps his shifts down 30, 40 seconds. And they've certainly used him a lot during this hockey game. 8-7, 1:54 left, Bruce. This is going to be interesting.
What a night it's been, John. What a night.
We've got timeouts left for both hockey clubs. We may see the Oilers pull a goaltender if they don't score and tie it up. Messier, of course, is going to take the face-off. Oh, so important in his own zone. It's going to be a wild finish.
Oilers had a 3-1 lead in the first. We're trailing 6-3. Got it to 6-5. Rangers led 8-5, and now it's 8-7. As the Oilers press for the tying marker, 1:45 remaining. Eriksson scoops it in on the right side. Goes to the corner against Messier. Fogelin behind the net. Lost it to Sundstrom. Messier down the boards for Anderson. He golfs it out. Pierre LaRouche to Ron Greshner. Shoots it in on the right side. Low back to get it behind the net. And it's icing New York.
Not a terrific play by Ron Greshner. A couple of more strides, he would have been over center ice, and it wouldn't have been icing. Glenn Sather's chance to set things up in the zone of the New York Rangers. Thinking ahead, 1:20 left here in the third period. He thinks ahead who he wants on the ice, whether he's going to pull the goaltender Andy Moog, whether he'll take a timeout. Andy Moog is skated up near the blue line. There you can see him. He's talking to Sather right now whether or not Sather wants him on the bench, when he's going to want him on the bench, who wins the face-off. If Edmonton gets control, you'll see him get over there quickly.
They'll have Gretzky, Kurri, Kruschelniski, Coffey, and Charlie Huddy. And Andy Moog has positioned himself just inside the Oiler blue line. So we'll see what happens on the face-off, and that will determine what Andy Moog does. 1:20 remaining, 8-7 New York. Rangers trying to snap a 7-game winless streak. Puck is loose in front. Huddy poking at it. Gretzky has it in the corner. Hanlon to Mike Rogers behind the net. Moog is still in the Oiler net. And the puck comes to him. Charlie Huddy gathering speed with 1 minute left. Jari Kurri drops it for Kruschelniski. Beck flips it out for the Rangers. Moog is out of the net. Anderson, the extra man on the ice. Now to Kruschelniski. On the right side to Kurri. Gretzky goes to the corner. Here's Anderson. Didn't get good wood on it. Takes another shot just wide on the short side. Gretzky to Paul Coffey, a shot. Hanlon the save. Rebound. Another save off Anderson. Puck is loose. Gretzky centered it. Here's Charlie Huddy. Keeps it in for the Oilers. Behind the net to Gretzky. Beck has it. Here's Curry in front. Puck bouncing. Rangers trying to clear it. Coffey winding up. That hit Mike Rogers. He goes after it. Huddy trying to beat him to the puck and will. 16 seconds left. Here's Coffey to Glenn Anderson. Now to Gretzky. Time running out. Beck just flips it out. Off over Sandstrom's stick. Oh, didn't get good one on it. Sandstrom pokes it just wide, but that will do it. The New York Rangers have beaten the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, it's a very emotional victory for the New York Rangers. The Edmonton Oilers, a gallant comeback effort. They had a very sloppy first period. In essence, that cost them the hockey game. And there you can see the standing ovation for these Rangers. It's been a sad, bad year for the New York Rangers. Sometimes one game can turn a season around. Keep your eye on the stats, folks, because this could be the game to get things going for the Rangers.
Rangers' 18th victory of the year coming against the Edmonton Oilers, and they also snap a 7-game winless streak here at Madison Square Garden against the Oilers. Craig Patrick and the Rangers very happy. In a moment, we'll have the Molson Cup 3 stars.